one. Once again, let me introduce to you our lovely speaker for tonight, Toastmasters Ayn Bernos. Let me.
Nakaka-emasculate to.
When you first meet someone, what's the question you ask? Is it, what's your name? How old are you? Are you single? For the first 16 years of my life, the question was, what school do you go to? And I took pride in answering, School of the Holy Spirit of Quezon City. Simple. After that, college rolled around, and the question became, what course are you taking? And my question for the my answer for the first year was interior design, but I'm not very good at it. So after that, for the next 3 years, my answer became English, linguistics, etc. It was so simple. But nowadays, people ask me this new question, really hard. People ask me, Ayn, what do you do? And every time I hear that question, I get really sweaty, and sweat rolls down my forehead and my neck, and blood rushes up my face, and I think, and I'm like, God, what do I do? Because I don't really know. The more I pursue my passions and the more I explore my wants, the more complicated my answer becomes. So luckily, I have this speech to introduce myself to you guys. So good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Thank you for having me. To start, I am a writer. I love stringing words together, and I hope that one day I would get paid for it. But when you graduate from college and you're 20 years old, it takes a long time to actually make a living out of it. So I thought, after blogging and writing poetry and writing whatever I could, I ended up becoming a digital marketing specialist because that's where the money kind of was.
Amen.
So every week, 40 hours a week, I would sit in front of my laptop and I would create Facebook ads. You know, Facebook ads. I would try to sell you flights to Melbourne or Sydney or wherever Qantas, the Australian airline, flew. And it was an okay job. It was okay enough that I stayed for the next 2 years. But something happened. I had an epiphany. I realized that I started hating words. I started hating writing. I hated writing. So anything, reading, books, writing for myself, I didn't want to do it anymore. So I needed a new creative outlet. So I dove headfirst into this new thing called YouTube. You know what YouTube is?
Yes.
So for those of you who don't know, YouTube is a social media platform where you can overshare about your life in video form. But the thing is, I didn't really have talent that was YouTube worthy. I wasn't a singer or a dancer who did covers. I wasn't a traveler who went around the world with travel vlogs. I wasn't a beauty vlogger who made makeup look pretty. I was just a girl who loved stringing words together. So what was I doing there? But I did it anyway, and I really enjoyed it. And I think the internet did too, because 3 years later, as word went around about my channel, I took my online thing offline, and I started speaking in schools and universities, and I talked about social media marketing and self-confidence and self-love, stuff like that. But out of everything, out of the topics that I would talk about, what really struck people most was the origin story of how I went from the little brown girl to a woman who just embraced her skin color, which is weird because we're a nation of brown people and this is a new concept. So I did that. I became a speaker. And as I realized how people related to my morena story, I thought, hey, there's a story there. But more than just a story, there was a business opportunity too. And so at 23, I started my clothing line called Morena the Label. And it's a shop that sells statement tees celebrating sun-kissed skin and brown skin and morena pride. I didn't really think that things would go well for the brand. And so just a few months after I launched, I decided to pursue yet another path. And I moved to Spain to teach English. I was an English teacher just like Do you know Teddy from Four Sisters and a Wedding? Yeah, he's that girl. So I moved there, and 16 hours a week I would practice English with Spanish teenagers. And admittedly, they liked me better than most of their Spanish teachers. They treated me better. And that's not because I was a foreigner, that's because I was a YouTuber. For some reason, they found it so cool that they had a YouTuber for a teacher, which I think is pretty fun too. And realizing that I was able to relate to a lot of these kids made me think that maybe I could continue this beyond the classroom and beyond a desk job. And so a month ago, I moved back here, moved back to the Philippines, my home, and started becoming all of the above. I am a writer, a speaker, a vlogger, an entrepreneur, an educator, and recently, 2 weeks ago, a podcast producer. So it's a lot of things, and it's very complicated when people ask me, Ayn, what do you do? But that's fine with me, because at the end of the day, I am Ayn Bernos, and I am a storyteller. Whether it's Instagram captions, or blogs, or videos, or lesson plans, or t-shirts, I am just a girl with a story, and someone who wants to share it with the world. And hoping that people would listen. And tonight, that's exactly what you did. So thank you so much for having me, fellow Toastmasters.